first I need to get my notes. Not quite sure what to wear, to be honest. It's not cold enough for a fleece, so I just went and go and put a cotton shirt on. So according to my notes, 1,000-mile service. So drain the oil, cylinder head, nuts, torque, valve clearances, inspect spark plug, replace engine oil. We'll look at the drive chain, maybe clean and re-oil it. Tyre pressures. Yeah, that's the basic stuff. So let's drain it first, shall we? So let's move this round here. If you can see. All my knobs are locked up. Right, okay. Where is it? Right, so we loosen the filler plug first, let the air in. I'm not doing the warming it up first nonsense. I think it doesn't do a lot, to be honest. I think I tried it once or twice and it didn't seem to make much difference, except that it was a bit more runny, so it came out quicker. I'm not talking about this bike especially, I mean any bike. It's quite windy out here, so hang on a minute. An elastic band for this because it's blowing it everywhere. I also want a pen for this. So I can tick things off when I've done them. Try and get some semblance of organisation. Right. So we've loosened that off. Right, let's find out which socket this is. I think it's an 8. Is it an 8? Yeah. No, it's an 11 or something, some weird size. No, it's a 12. I've done this before, but I can't remember. Okay, that was a bit tight. Yeah, this thing about warming the engine up first before you drain the oil, I've got a nasty suspicion that it just stirs up all the rubbish, so it's all round the engine. So when you drain it, you don't actually get it all out. If you leave it to settle in the bottom, it will you'll get it all settled in the bottom, and the rest of the top half of the engine will be more or less clean. That's my theory anyway. Also, I'm going to want to do the valve clearances next, and you can't do that with a warm engine. So, now I'm going to put I've got a Doughty washer on here, which is a washer with an O-ring seal in the middle. We'll put a new one on there, I think, while I think of it. We'll do it now while we think of it. I think these are reusable, but I've got a fuse, so we'll put a new one on. Right, so it's a, I don't know if you can see that, it's a, can you see it's like a, it's a metal washer with a rubber ring in the middle, well, not neoprene or whatever, which looks, so it looks perfectly good. That'll do another turn, but we'll put a new one on if I can find it. I've got a bag of them here. Here we are. It was a dozen to start with, was it? I don't know. Well, the oil is draining and it's kind of dirty, yeah. Right, so I can demonstrate. So here we go. So just push that on like that, and then just like that. And it works. Doughty washers. A Doughty washer, D-O-W-T-Y, or I don't know, O-ring washer or something like that. Come off eBay, get a dozen for £3 or something. 14mm, I believe it is. It's the thread size. Right, while that's doing that, I'll take the spark plug out because then we'll turn it over easier. Now, I can do it with this, or come around here for a minute. So I'll use this special tool, or not. And of course it has to be the plug spanner size is 16mm. You know, it's all right. Don't like it that much, but it's all right. Right. And this is a oh, this is an NGK. I thought I put a Bosch plug in. Oh, that's interesting. I thought I changed them to Bosch plugs. Anyway, it's all right. It looks quite clean. We could check the gap. If I can find me gauges. Yeah. I don't know what. These are all in thousandths of an inch. So that's a 25, 6, 8. What's that, 12? Well, 15 and 4 makes 19. There's a 10 there. There's a 6, I don't know. Well, that's a loose 19, so I reckon that's probably a 20. Where is this, Yeah, where is the Bosch one then? Of course, I carry a spare around sometimes. No, can't find any Bosch ones, so I must be dreaming. No such thing. Anyway, in that case, we'll put the same one back in because it seems to work all right. So we'll do that. Put them over there. So let's put him in there so we can go back in. Right. So next thing we need to do. I need the big spanner. Where is it? 24mm ring spanner. To take the caps off for the. I have had these off before. That's why that came off easy. They are really difficult to get off to start with. They don't have to be done that. You can see they've got a. See that orange thing? That's an O-ring seal, which is perfectly capable of, you know, making it secure. So it doesn't have to be stupidly tight, which is what they were to start with. We tap with a rubber mallet, and there we go. Oh, something else I've got to do. That's right. Hang on. Before we get involved in all this, I've got to retorque the head. So, yeah, it's on the list, cylinder head nuts. So that's 22 Newton meters. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure what. Again, it might be. Yeah, they're the same size. Same size as a drain plug. So on this. There's the scale there. I haven't got. It doesn't have 21 Newton meters, but it's got. Or 22. It's got 21 and 22, 23. So we wind it up. So it's like halfway. So that would be the 21. So we go around to the next 0 on the collar. Should be 21. 22, I mean, not 22. Right, so that's your 22. Switch it to doing up. Yeah, a tiny bit. Right, go diagonally up opposite, if we can get in. Again, a tiny bit. Okay. And this one. And again, yes, so they all wanted to go, I don't know, 16th of a turn or something, so it was a wee bit, yeah. Right, remember to slacken this off to its minimum setting. You must not store a torque wrench with a spring compressed. It weakens it, I think. Right, next. Hang on, let's tick that off. So yeah, done that. Inspect your spark plug. Okay, that can go back. Next, now, when I looked at the valve clearances the first time, 500-mile service, and there were 1/1000 of an inch more than what the spec is, but I left it because too loose is better than too tight. So, and I did write it down. Inlet was 5/1000 and exhaust was 6/1000. So we'll just check the exhaust first. Now the trick with this is that how does it go? You check the exhaust with inlet closing, I think. It's inlet closing because it's going up to the thing, going up on the compression stroke. There, right. Yep, and that's loose. Right, well that's a loose 6. An 8 won't go in. 4, 5, 6. I'm trying to find 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a 7 there. Right, so it is a wee bit. It is a wee bit loose. Right. So that lock nut there is an 8mm, and this spanner's a bit loose, I have to say. And the thing in the middle, I found a little tiny weeny spanner, which will fit that square. And this is 3.5mm, it says there. So here's our 6mm feeler gauge. Shove that in. Right, that's I just did that up by hand. Again, I'm going for 6mm on, 6/1000 of an inch for the gap, because not gap, it's not. Yeah, and this ring spanner is awkward. Hang on. Right. The trouble with this is, when you tighten the lock nut, it will turn the centre as well, so here we are. and that's the 6,000 same as it was before, which seems perfectly all right to me. So, right, I'll use this socket because it fits much better than the ring spanner does. I'll just do that. It doesn't have to be stupidly tight, just so it's done up. Check it again. Okay. And rag. I'm always hunting for my rag. You know, if you have this with rags, you put it down somewhere and forget where you put it, and then when you need it, you haven't got it. Right, and same for the inlet, and the inlet is, at the moment it's inlet closing, wasn't it? So now it's... Okay, so just done the inlet, and again I'm making it what it was before when I checked it, which is 5/1000 of an inch, because a wee bit looser is better than a wee bit tighter. So the modus operandi is turn it around on the Kickstarter until the inlet valve is starting to close. It opens and then it's closing. Then the exhaust should be loose, and you do the exhaust. You turn it around again until the exhaust is just starting to open, and then you do the inlet. And again, the inlet, you just get hold of it and see if it rocks. I mean, you get hold of it now, and it will. I don't know if you can hear that. It actually moves up and down. That makes sure that it's on the base of the cam lobe, so it's absolute minimum. It's easier than trying to get it to top dead center, which is not always not always simple. Right. Right, so put the caps back on. Try and keep them the same way around. This was on the front. More. 24mm spanner. Doesn't have to be stupidly tight, it's just so it's done up. That's how I did it up before. It didn't come undone, so that's okay. I don't know what the torque is. There probably is a torque figure. Don't know what it is. I say the O-ring is big enough that it's not going to move. The O-ring sticks to both surfaces and it stops them coming undone. So that's good enough. Try to do this without damaging the cylinder fins. That's it. That's that done. Might as well bung the spark plug back in because it looks fine. Do it up finger tight, and then I'm going to use a technique. I'm going to use this box spanner, which I carry around as part of the toolkit. This is 16mm at one end, and I think that's a 17. Originally I got this for a Piaggio scooter, and it was that end for the spark plug. But it turns out the spark plugs on this are even smaller, so it's that way, that end fits. So as I say, I carry this around in the toolkit to do that, and then the Tommy bar that goes with it, and you just, oh actually no, it wasn't quite bedded in. This is it, you see, you think it's done up and it's not. So that much, that's all, that's enough. Pop the cap back on. This cap is one I got specially. It's not the original cap, it's an NGK, I can't remember what number it is offhand. Oh, it's written on it, hang on. It's a VD05FR, 5 kilo ohm resistance. Oh, that's right, 5 kilo ohm resistance. So the plugs are resistorless, they're not resistor plugs, so they've got the resistor is in here. I got this by second hand, and the cap that was on it was not the original cap, it was something else. It was another NGK cap, but it didn't fit properly because it was a right angled one. It was pressing against here, which didn't strike me as a good idea. So I got this one with a 45-degree angle, so that it clears the head and it's not touching anything. But obviously works fine. Right, put them away, don't need that. So tick that. Did it with draining oil, yeah, okay. So let's gotta remember that, so make a note of that. So to do those squares on the ends of the valve adjusters, it's a 3.5mm. It's a 3.5mm spanner. So, right. Bring the drain plug back in without dropping it into the. Hang on. Clear some of the schmoo off. Oil. Now come on, don't be a pain. That's it. Right, let's have this out of the way. I'll pour that into my waste bottle later on. And so this was a 12mm, wasn't it? So that's the lock nut for the valve adjuster is an 8mm, and the square is a 3.5. So we'll just quickly. Okay, so we'll do this on the. Yeah, that'll do. That's quite enough. I say the Doughty washers are quite good because they work like lock washers as well, because the rubber or the neoprene, whatever it is, will compress and you know, keep it tight. Unlike aluminium or, I mean, they're all right, aluminium or copper crush washers, they work fine, but they're single use only. Once you've crushed it, or unless you want to, some people will tell you that you can anneal it. But I mean, what's a new washer cost really? You know, just bung a new one on. You know, they're pennies, if that. Right. So now we've got to this will be fun. So now we've got to refill it, and I can't remember what I did last time. So right. So this is the filler and dipstick. Now then, right, so here's my measuring jug. Now this I bought, this is it, this is the 1040, the Silcoline Super4 1040, and I bought this in mail order and it came in a cardboard box, and I thought, this is weird. I've never seen oil in a cardboard box, and inside it is like a sort of a plastic bag, and apparently it's all to do with reducing the amount of waste plastic. Alright, I suppose that plastic is thinner than, but anyway, I don't know if we can get this in here without making a mess. We need a litre of it. Which is up to the top, I think, pretty much. Oops, here we go. Did I say without making a mess? Right, I'm going to try that again, but this time with a bit of waste cardboard underneath. Because the trouble is these flaps catch on the edge of the thing, that's what happened. So I'm still not... Yeah, it's got to go up to there, right. I think this is the third time I've done this. So we've had 3 litres out of there we go. Right, so we've had 3 litres out of this so far, so there should be 1 left, because when I got the bike it was 3 years old. Not been anywhere yet really, but it's 3 years old, so I thought, well, we'll change the oil, because the oil will be 3 years old. Shoelaces come undone. They do that, these laces. Extremely ancient, ratty, cheap Asda canvas shoes, which are literally falling apart. Now, I'll pour it into there without making a mess. Will that go in there? I can't remember. Yeah, it's a bit iffy, isn't it? That is a bit iffy. How did I do this before? Well, oops, how I did it before must have been with some sort of funnel, so. So we'll try that. Well, it's going somewhere and it's not coming out the bottom, so that's usually a good sign. It's quite good, this oil, the old Silcoline 1040. I used to use it in my Motor Guzzi, I think. Alright, here we go. Okay. I'll leave it there for a minute. Put that away. Right, hang on. thing for draining the oil into, so we'll get that going in a minute. Just put that in there. Right. Go through the motions of dipping the dipstick. Yes, there is oil on the end. Fair enough. Job done. Do that up. And that's that. Tick that off. Right, I'm just going to do some of this waste oil. Back in a mo. Alright, well, let's look at the chain now. It's got some lube on it, okay. Is the chain tension we want to look at. So I happen to know by observation that if the split, where is it? If I can find the split link, right, the split link is there. When it gets round about there, this is usually a tight run there, or it used to be. I don't know if you can see that. Tip it down a bit, right, okay. Now, so I've got this piece of cardboard, and I marked on it, 10 and 20 millimeters, and I like to have it not much less than 20 millimeter, because when you roll it off the main stand, most of that disappears. It's quite extraordinary. So we're just going to slip that. Right, this should be where the tyre goes. So I have to crouch so I can see it. So that's at 0. Yeah, then once I come back a smidgen, so we need two 30mm spanners. Right, so I have one from the AGS toolkit, another one from the other toolkit. Yeah, so we just need to just loosen them. I don't think it'll take much. Then we need a 17 and a 19 millimeter to loosen the spindle. Like so. Now, I think if we make it literally a 1/6 of a turn, see what that does. Get a bit of cardboard with the marks on it. Maybe a gnat's whisker more. I'm pushing the wheel forward with my knees while I just nip these up. Alright, what's that done? Yeah. That's it. And it's now possibly 17, 18 millimeters now. So try a different position. As I say, that was a tightest place. It's about the same or slightly less, if that. Okay, that's interesting. It's pretty much even, pretty much the same at different positions. When I first got it, there were two definite tight spots. In fact, when it was new, it used to make this sort of whining noise. What's it like, a whoa, 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 you know. It doesn't do that anymore. That's no, that's the same. And there's a spring link again there. So we're nearly done a whole rotation. Yep. How interesting, it's consistently the same all the way around. Right about, well, somewhere between 15, that's probably yeah. No. That's probably a 15, 16. All right, we'll leave it there. So, I don't want to do any tighter than that. So we'll nip up the spindle nuts. Another quick check. Split link is there. Yeah, sort of 16, 17 mil. And what was the tightest run? That will do. This is still the original chain. This is a Chinese chain fitted to the factory. It's still only, it's not even up to the second. On the back here, there are lines, there are divisions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's notches on the these things. I've got to tighten them up. The actual adjuster mounts, and are they both the same? Not quite up to the second line. So there are lines on each side, and then a notch on this, on the actual chain adjuster bit, and you just get the notches in the same position each side, basically. So, and so they're still not up to the second notch, actually. So, after 1,500 miles, I don't know. I've got a DRD chain on order, so that's ready to go on whenever. And I spent hours last night trying to find out what the hell does suffix D mean. So you buy a DRD chain, so this is a 428D. This is a 428 size chain, 120 links with a split link. 428D, so what the hell is 428D? And I eventually found it. And in an eBay description, and D means a different construction. The rollers used to be made from flat strip that was curled up and then welded, curled up into like a ring and then welded. The new way of making them is the rollers are made from like round stock, either solid bar or tube or whatever, which I would have thought there would have been anyway. I was quite surprised by that. That the rollers start off as flat strip, are cut up and then curled up into a ring and then welded at the joint. I never knew that. But no, so suffix D, which is or they're all suffix D now, which is the new way of manufacturing them, means the rollers are made of solid material. Right, let's have a go at we'll go through the motions of cleaning it. And the way that I do it, this is not a how-to. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just telling you that this is how I do it. Again, following from the instructions that are given on the DID box, so I'm told. DID recommend that you just oil the chain. You don't do anything else. Anyway, here I've got Worth brake and chain cleaner, so we just blast it off with this. I say this is what I've done before, so mostly on here there should only be like oil. I'm trying to find that. Right, so there's the spring link there. And I'll keep doing that until it comes round. And it is doing it. There's a lot of dirty. It's a one of these things which evaporates. There he is. Right. So this can might do another couple of goes. This is done the fourth or fifth by now. Probably have to order some more, but anyway, then, hang on a minute, find a grubby rag, and so we just, yeah, that's all. Wipe it off. Trouble is the rag tends to get tangled with the tyre. There he is, there's a spring link there, right. Let me get grubby, of course, grubby schmoo and whatever. Of course, this was greased originally, and the grease is pretty much all gone now. So, and next. Right, there it is. Okay. think I might have lost sound there. The batteries ran out on the receiver. I'm using a wireless comm. And the batteries ran out on the receiver, so I don't know how much we lost. Anyway, so we've done the tyre pressures, check the brake pads. Okay. See if the lights work. Is the next thing. Right, okay, so we've got a pilot light. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, front and back, okay. Off, right. Okay, we've got a rear light. Brake light, okay. And right. And it works. So there you are. Oh yeah.